Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the new Tier 8 Premium Light Tank, the German M4190. By the time this video goes up, I think this tank is only going to be in the store for another 24 hours. I'm a little bit late to the party, and the reason for that is because, obviously, of Minsk, and then travelling, and then when returning, I wanted to get the E25 announcement done as a priority. And then I had a lot of work to catch up on. So I haven't actually had a chance to play and record much since I've got home. Now, truth be told, when we were in Minsk and they told us this tank had hit the store, I logged in and I bought it straight away. So I have had a chance to play it because I played it in Minsk. Granted, it was with bad ping, and I couldn't record anything because, well, my PC doesn't go with me and my recording stuff doesn't go with me. So I haven't been able to record any games until last night. So I had a couple of quick games last night and some games tonight, and I've thrown a couple of them in this video. They're not the greatest of games in terms of damage, but I do think they give a nice, varied, good example of what the tank is capable of. And more than anything, I think the fact is you don't have to have a crazy good game in this to enjoy it. It's a light tank. It's constant action is one of these things, because anyone points a gun at you and you can pretty much guarantee they're going to penetrate because you only have 27mm of armor. That is stopping absolutely nothing. You need to angle up, and I like to give people my tracks actually in hope that they will actually absorb and help. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to really record much, so as a result I apologise. This isn't a proper review. I was kind of hoping, well, on the plane I was like, right, let's get the E25 done. And then as soon as I've done the E25 announcement, I will get on and make a proper guide for this straight away. But that sadly has not happened. I simply haven't had the time. But I still wanted to get something out before the tank left the store, because I've had several messages saying, shall I buy the tank? And, well, the answer to that is, I don't know. It's entirely up to you whether or not you should buy the tank or not. I like to make the videos to obviously share some fun games with you guys and to try and share some information. I can't actually tell someone whether a tank is worth buying or not. Well, unless it was the Panther 8.8 when it first came out. So I think that was the worst released premium tank ever. Thankfully they have buffed it over and over since then, but yeah, it wasn't nice on that one. It was awful in all fairness though. Now, thankfully, this isn't a bad tank. In fact, it's a very, very good tank. And more importantly, it's not a Tier 8 Premium Heavy. It's a light, which is what we need and want. Something different. It's something new to grind credits with. Now, I don't need to grind credits. I've got more credits than I can shake a stick at. I think I've got 17 or 18 million credits at the moment. And I've researched nearly every tank in the tech tree. I think aside from one or two tanks, I've bought and played every tank in the tech tree, so credits aren't really something I need at the moment, but it's a premium tank. I like collecting premium tanks. And the fact that this is the first Tier 8 premium tank, and it's a light, I wanted it. Plus, it looks great with this camo. Now, I think I've paid like £43 for this, which sounds like a lot of money for a digital tank. Well, it is a lot of money for a digital tank. But I'm glad I bought it. I really am glad I bought it. It's really, really good fun. There is only one thing which has spoiled this tank for me, and that's not this tank's fault. What spoils this tank for me is the T49. Same hull, pretty much. Different gun. And the gun is very good, and I really do enjoy the gameplay with this. However, the T49, with its ability to do that much alpha damage, even after the nerf, it's just so much fun. It really is. It's like last night when I went to go try and record some games in this. I ended up playing a game in this, I ended up playing a game in my T49, and then I ended up going back to this, and then back to the T49. And the T49 does spoil you for the thrill factor, because you've got a huge reload, and you're going to then hopefully do a shed ton of damage if you penetrate. What's interesting though is I still made credits, a lot of credits last night, just playing a couple of games in this and driving the T49, which is interesting because the T49 literally bleeds credits and this thing makes a truck ton. So, well, they balance quite nicely in that case. You still make credits and you get to afford to drive a ridiculously expensive to drive T49. Now the other tank I want to draw a comparative to is the M41 Walker Bulldog at tier 7. Now when you look at these things on paper, this thing, a tier up, has 20 more DPM per minute. That sounds awful. You've gone up a tier and you've gained 20 DPM. So this tank has 2,552 with equipment fitted, and the tier 7 has 2,533. That's not sounding good so far. However, this thing has 182mm of penetration on its AP, and it has 250 on its heat, and what's most important is 102mm on the HE on the end, which is actually HEP, which is high explosive plastic, which pretty much is exactly the same as HESH. It's just named slightly different. There is more technical to it than that, however, far too much explaining in this video. And I have a Drac chasing me right now, and he's determined to kill me. But check this out. He comes around the corner and bounces. How do you bounce off a tank with 27mm of armor? That's just bad luck. Come around the corner quickly, though. Do finish off an IS-6. Squeeze through the gap, and here's a lovely example of that HEP. So, it massively increases its DPM, providing it penetrates. That one didn't penetrate, only did 34 damage. The rest are going to penetrate and do 320 alpha on average. With 102mm of penetration, that's what makes this tank so special. Learning to use that HEP correctly, it really does make this tank so good. And it ups your DPM to 3,402. That's insane. It's a significant jump from using the AP. The difference is your penetration drops to 102, but 102 for HESH or HEP is very, very good. And it's something you don't get on a lot of other tanks. Now you get it on an RU-251, and you get it on this. Now here's the key thing, I think. When you're in a light tank and you're pushing ahead quite aggressively like we are here to spot, what's the first thing you're going to spot? Enemy light tanks doing the same thing. How many light tanks you know with over 100mm of armor? Granted, they can angle, but you're still going to do tremendous damage with most shots that will penetrate. And that's what makes this tank so strong and so fun, is being able to tear apart the enemies. I mean, look at this one. That's on the side of a Lerva, and we managed to hit him with the HEP and set him on fire. And we've just done the same thing with that Indian Panzer by there. We've managed to hit the side of him with the HEP, and we've just done it again. And if you can keep doing that, you can tear things apart. So I'm going to rush that Indian Panzer. Now if I shot his tracks, by the way, obviously that wouldn't have penetrated then. And I wouldn't have done much damage. Shooting that little bit above his tracks, I managed to penetrate that shot and do crazy damage. Now I was going to push him, and then I just realised he has a friend. So I'm kind of in a 2-on-1 situation here, and I have half my health. So I'm going to wait till this guy comes around the corner, and again, I could screw up and miss one of these shots, but it's completely worth the risk to out-DPM something. Perfect example. That SP1C just had full health. He is on a reload. By the time he's finished his reload with a quick ram, set him on fire. We've just taken 1,000 health off him in the space of him having one reload. Honestly, this stuff is golden, and using it really does make this tank something special and something fun. You could just get an RU and do that, but I actually prefer the Walker Bulldog, even though it's not a very popular tier 7 tank. So to get one in black at tier 8, which makes lots of credits, and with a pretty much like an RU-251 gun, yeah, this is right up my street. And we even managed to ninja this kill. But people get so annoyed when you ninja their kills. Yeah, aside from the gun, what I like is how mobile this tank is, and it is really, really mobile. But the backhand of that mobility is drifting. And that's a very good thing, and it's a very, very bad thing. I'm going to interrupt this game very, very quickly to show you why it's a bad thing sometimes. Now here's a game on the same map. I'm looking for one of the tanks which is left. I'm on very, very low health, and he makes himself known as to being in A. But because I'm on very, very low health, my plan here is to stick my adrenaline on, sorry, not my adrenaline, my engine boost, and go tight around the bushes by here. And then I can swerve around and surprise him. However, I slide directly towards him and get smashed in the face. That's due to drifting, and drifting incorrectly. Don't get me wrong, I was laughing because it's funny. But it can get you in sticky situations sometimes, and you can't plan for it if you screw it up. So you need to be aware of the whole drifting thing. However much fun it is, you can actually screw yourself over with it. The backhand, however, of that is it's not always a bad thing. You can drift around things very, very quickly to get in tight to stop them circling you. Or, if you're chasing down an RU-251, you can always circle around the side of them, using the HEP to finish them off and do a nice little snazzy kill at the end. So childish, but so much fun. Really is. I love the drifting on this thing. It's caught me out a couple of times already, but it's really good fun. Now, as I mentioned at the start, this isn't a proper tank review like I usually like to do. But based on the questions I've had, I wanted to try and get something done before the tank left the store. I will try and get something a little bit more in depth done as soon as I can, but obviously that will be after it has left the store. A couple of other key things to note on this tank: it does have 8 degrees of gun depression. When you compare it to the Bulldog, it has 8 degrees on its autoloader, but on its single shotgun it has 10 degrees, which 8 degrees is fine in all honesty. It's a very respectable figure, and I think with 10 degrees this thing would be a little bit broken. Separate to that, I think another thing worth noting is if you don't let your shots aim and you're not close range, there's a probability you're going to go flying over the enemy target. If you're using your HEP and you're at a little bit of range, try your hardest to make sure you fully aim it. Otherwise you'll end up missing and doing sod all damage. If you're close range, I wouldn't waste your time and I just go to town on it. But yeah, with that HE, it's a proper light tank killer, and you can give your team an advantage right at the start by trying to focus down that one light tank, which hopefully is going to get to the same sort of spot as you before anyone else does. Personally, I really like it. I'm glad I bought it, and I'm probably going to be playing this one an awful lot. As a light tank fan, it is right up my street, and personally, like I said, I think Tier 8 is completely inundated with Tier 8 heavy premium tanks, so it's nice to have something different. Anyway, this is intended to be short and sweet. I hope you have enjoyed the video, guys. I will get a proper one done ASAP. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.